Hi guys. Today, instead of medical information, I thought of sharing an interesting case with you. So this is around 2 years ago when I was posted in the emergency. At around 4 a.m. one night, it was very silent. The emergency was surprisingly empty. We didn't have a lot of patients. So all of us doctors, we were just talking to each other in the nursing station. And around 4 a.m., a patient is wheeled in. Let's call him Mr. X. So Mr. X, who's around 70 years old, gets wheeled in with his brother and his mother, and he's in a state of complete disorientation. He has no idea where he is, which month of the year it is, and who are his relatives. He cannot recognize anybody. He's agitated, trying to run out of the bed. So we had to take care of him in that condition. We tried to ask the patient's relatives when it all started. So according to them, around 15 days back he was okay, and after he started behaving differently. He started acting weird, he stopped taking food, he stopped drinking water, and he just started slowly losing his memory gradually until this day when suddenly he was brought in this condition. Usually in this condition, the usual culprits are, let's say, metabolic abnormalities like dyselectrolytemias. Your sodium might be high or low, or there may be some problems in your blood sugar, or there might be some infection in your brain, which we call meningitis. There can also be some tumors in your brain, or sometimes some other cancers in the body, which can have this manifestation, which we call it as paraneoplastic syndrome. So we thought of all of these culprits in the emergency. Whatever we could rule out, we ruled out with blood tests. His blood tests were all clean, his electrolytes were normal, his blood sugar was normal, his CT scan, MRI scan of the brain were all normal. There was nothing to suggest an infection in the brain. He didn't have a fever. There was no sepsis, no other infection anywhere else in the body. So we were just waiting, wondering what to do. We called the neurologists and we were planning to admit this patient under neurology because they wanted to work him up, evaluate for other causes like paraneoplasticomes or encephalitis panels. So all the formalities were done. Neurologist has come and seen the patient, and we're just waiting for the formalities to be done and for the patient to be wheeled into the neurology room. Now, while waiting, we all noticed one thing. When the maid who was there to clean the emergency department, to clean the floor, and whenever she turned on the fan, this patient started vehemently gasping for air. We just noticed that once, we noticed that twice. And when one of my seniors, she noticed it and she said, "Does this look like aerophagia?" Basically, when the patient is scared of wind or scared of air. And then we did it once or twice more, and we realized, yes, this patient is having aerophagia. And then we also tried to bring some water near the patient, and he reacted violently. That's when we realized that, oh, this could be rabies. We went back and asked the patient's relatives, was the patient bitten by any dog or any animal, any mammal recently? Initially, they were unsure, but finally, when they dug into the history, they realized, yes, the patient was bitten by a dog around 15 days back, after when these symptoms started and this patient was brought in this condition. So this patient finally was diagnosed to have rabies. I thought of sharing this with you because it's an interesting case, it's an interesting story, and also to tell you how important it is for us doctors that the relatives give us the right history so that we can diagnose and treat the patient correctly. So that was it, guys. That was the interesting case for today. I meet you on the next one. I'm Dr. Archana. आपका सवाल मेरा जवाब.